Transurfing on Tuesday. How in the heck do we stop encountering negativity? Yeah. We discuss a quote from the book Transurfing in 78 Days by Vadim Zealand and how to replace negative thought patterns with positive ones, and even some research on why we predominantly think negative thoughts and exactly what you can do about it today. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kathie Owen, certified fitness trainer and life coach since 2002, teaching others the Stop the Mind Screw process. On this channel, we talk about fitness, mindset, wellness, health, and even some reality transurfing. And today we are talking about transurfing on Tuesday. We're discussing the quote of the day from the book Transurfing in 78 Days. Then there are events like accidents, catastrophes, and natural disasters. These too could become a part of your reality if you start internalizing the news reports. Focus your attention deliberately and solely on the things you want to see in your world. Turn away from everything else. Close your eyes and ears to it all. Evil will never disappear from reality altogether, but it can vanish from your layer of your world. You will simply stop encountering negativity. Vadim Zealand, Transurfing in 78 Days. Over the past few weeks, I have encountered negativity galore. And I got to thinking, and while doing research for this article, video, and podcast episode, it even brought me full circle. You see, I had a very tragic accident that happened at my place of work to one of my coworkers. And actually, there's a lot of family members there, so it affected the whole family. And we worked there as a family, and so we were all affected. And this place I consider my home and my family. I also had triggers from my complex PTSD that I've talked about in the past few episodes. And I just was not myself, and negativity was kind of ruling my reality. I also had to have oral surgery, and I'm still kind of getting over that. But that meant I was forced to rest and recover, which meant I couldn't exercise, which is one of my outlets of mental release. When it comes to grief and the stages of grief, we must pass through those at our own pace. It's only when we get to acceptance that we can consider negativity leaving us when encountered with a traumatic situation. The stages of grief are actually part of being human, and these stages are our attempts to process, change, and protect ourselves while we adapt to a new reality. The 5 stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And it's only when you get to acceptance that you can actually quit dwelling on the negative thoughts. But we move through the stages of grief, all process them differently, and we move through them, back through them. We may get to bargaining, we return back to denial, we go to anger, to depression, and every person is different. So I'd like to also present another quote that relates to this, and it is from the book Working with the Law by Raymond Hollowell. And he says, crowd out all inferior thoughts with superior thoughts, evil thoughts with good thoughts, ugly thoughts with beautiful thoughts, distressing thoughts with pleasant thoughts, and you will begin to overcome the growth of all negative and confused states of wrong and discord. This quote also makes me think of one of my favorite scriptures, which is a great foundation when it comes to overcoming negative thinking. And that's from Philippians 4:8. And it says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. It's hard to explain, but we know music affects our reward system. And this does apply to negative thinking. And also this week, I'm releasing an episode on music and how it affects your state of mind. But the same thing happens with a negative thought, only the brain chemicals are a little bit different. But we can switch that because negative information causes a surge in activity in critical information processing area of the brain. Our behaviors and attitudes tend to be more shaped powerfully by bad news experiences and information. I've been reading a lot about chemicals in the brain that control our behavior, and I've written many times about dopamine and how positive experiences trigger warm feelings and thoughts. That dopamine rush is one reason we like to check our email, hoping for an encouraging message, or it's why we check our phone so often for text messages. Curiously, in studying this topic lately, it turns out there's a competing chemical called cortisol that is related to your hormones and stress levels. I find this so fascinating. So cortisol is a chemical in your brain that tends to flow more freely and spurs negative thinking patterns. Your brain loves cortisol, and so do fat cells, by the way. I've read dozens of books and articles about this, and there is a war going on between the wonderful pat on the back of dopamine and the negative slap of the wrist of cortisol. Known as an alarm system, your brain releases chemical cortisol as a way to warn you about imminent danger. And let's be honest, that's pretty helpful at times. You know, that car in your rearview mirror that is speeding up too fast, or a toxic person in the office who is spreading rumors about you. These experiences are common and they trigger cortisol in your brain with a snap, which means negative thoughts come more easily than positive thoughts. Think about how that works. When you see that car approaching too fast or you encounter that toxic person in the office, the default reaction is the one that is easier and more fluid. It's kind of like a habit. And the one that seems oh so right to you is to feel stress and anxiety, to assume the worst will happen, to unleash negativity. The problem for a lot of us is that we develop a pattern of negativity because our brains prefer that pattern. The pump is already primed. The truth is a bit more complicated, however. That car will probably swerve away from you, and that toxic person will probably not last at your company. If the toxic person spreads rumors about you, it's easy to dwell on it because your brain is wired that way. But the reality is that most people know when someone is toxic and difficult in the office. So the rumors probably won't stick. There's almost always a positive thought you can muster in any given situation. If the environment is so toxic, you're finding that to be impossible, it's time to find a different environment. Positive thoughts are harder. They take more work and energy, and you have to develop new patterns and new ways of thinking. Cortisol is always there, fighting back. I did a video a few weeks ago on the proven steps to help you stop thinking about the past. And that video will be linked in the article/blog post in the show notes and description today. So just know it may take some work at first, but it is overall important to replace those negative thoughts with positive ones. And like Vadim says, turn away from everything else. Close your eyes and your ears to it all. Evil will never disappear from reality altogether, but it can vanish from your layer of your world. You will simply stop encountering negativity. I also like to think about advantage in reality transurfing and how my world is always taking care of me, and refer to that often as well to help me focus on the positive as opposed to the easy/awful negative. Let me know how this works for you. Thank you for spending part of your day with me. I really do appreciate it. And if you found this beneficial or you know someone who can benefit from this content, please share it with them. And until next time, I'll see you next time. Peace out and namaste.